Welcome to the Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast. The sports betting podcast for squares. Those are the beginners, the newbies, the folks that like the action, the non-pros. This is the podcast for you, and I'm hoping you're joining us today, ready for some great conversation. But the goal of this podcast is to grow a community of sports bettors, to get better with each other, share best practices, tips, theories, and crazy stories of success and not so much success. These are the same conversations that you're having with your buddies at parties. The new folks who got online recently to put a few dollars down, and when I say a few dollars, I literally mean a few dollars. That's who this sports betting podcast is for. And you can follow the Overrated Experience at Overrated Experience 2. So sorry, I'll put that again for Twitter. So at Overrated EXPER 2. That's how you can follow the Overrated Experience. I'm looking for feedback on anything you want to talk about sports betting related, any topics you think we should talk about on the show, any thoughts or theories or stories that you have that can be shared. I'm all ears. Send a tweet and we'll talk about it on the show. So this week we just passed Halloween and a lot of action that was going on over the weekend, but we're going to kick it off with some news and notes around the world of sports betting and also the world of sports. I think I want to touch base on some items that are sports gambling related, news that impact the regular players out there. And I'm going to start with a few updates from the Ontario region where I'm at. Not limited, obviously. This is just the news that affects me personally. So just on covers.com, there's a gentleman by the name Jeff. I'm hoping I'm not going to butcher his last name, but Jeff Zokadine. He's followed at GEOFFZOCHODNE on Twitter. Good follow. He's a sports writer. He's a sports betting reporter for covers.com. Probably the best resourceful betting site that I know of that provides tons of information, tons of reviews on betting sites, and also articles like Jeff is writing. And he wrote 2 articles that I found interesting, or at least provided 2 pieces of news that impact the sports bettor. Caesars at the Caesars Casino in Windsor, Ontario, just across the river from Detroit, is and has installed sports betting kiosks. Apparently they've opened 10 sports betting kiosks, which is the start of probably many of the Canadian or Ontario-based casinos adding sports betting directly as you get into the casino. Again, I'm surprised this is not already in place. We're already into week 9 of the NFL season. You think that the speed to get these kiosks ready to go would have been here in September or at least early October, but that's not the case. But it started out in Caesars. I was in Niagara Falls over the weekend, the Falls View Casino, and I can tell you that there is a section where these kiosks, I'm pretty sure they're similar to the ones I've seen in the pictures that Jeff had tweeted out on his, in his story of the kiosks that are sitting in Falls View right now that are coming soon. And they'll allow the sports bettor to, I guess, generate a ticket, enjoy their time at the casino, and then hopefully get paid off at the end. But I can tell you right now, I still don't think the casinos grasp the concept of what the gift that has been provided to them. When, especially in Ontario, April 4th, when regulated gambling began, there should have been a rush, barriers broken down, any way possible to get these kiosks. And forget the kiosk. The kiosk is one aspect of the experience when you're heading to the casino. When I go to Vegas and I go to go to the Bellagio Sportsbook or I go to Caesars Sportsbook, I don't think, oh my God, yeah, they got a kiosk where I can do self-serve my ticket. No, it's the experience of being around a group of people that could be on the other side of what you're betting. Maybe they're looking at the other TV over, having a few beers, the emotion going up and down. I don't think they're grasping the concept and the demand from the sports gambler. When you go to the casinos now, especially in Ontario, it is hard to find anything that's beyond or below a $25 minimum table, especially to play blackjack. And in the past, you were able to go to whether it be the old casino in Niagara, Blue Heron, or other casinos where you could find, if you wanted, a $5, $10 blackjack table. Would there be a lineup behind it? Yes. But would there be the option of a spot opening up potentially as you're there and you made the drive there? Yes. That's lost now. I think the casino folks have gotten a little greedy to kind of look at the clientele that's already there, pumping money in, and I'm sure they're making tons of money. But the draw to bring in new faces and people that maybe don't care about playing blackjack anymore, I think I don't think they're grasping the gift that's in front of them right now. So yes, the kiosks are going to be available soon at Fallsview. And my understanding that the Pickering Casino, the new one that recently opened up in the last few years, will also have the same experience. But you need to get a sports book in there. You need to have that experience where I'm showing up because it's Sunday. I'm going to take a trip to Pickering with the boys. We're going to make some bets and be able to make a day of it. Right now, that's lost. I'm not going to go there to play $25 hands of blackjack anymore. May have done that 10 years ago. Not anymore. All right? And also, the fact that I am sitting in the casino, such as I did on the weekend with my buddy, and we're sitting there playing, looking around, and hard pressed to find a TV that has anything on it, any football, any hockey, college football, anything going on that should be every line of sight as I'm betting on whatever table game or whatever thing I'm doing. I should have a TV accessible to me for something going on. Right now, as a sports bettor, you're constantly checking your scores. You're walking away from the table. And especially on Sundays, there's no way in hell during football season I'm going to sit at a blackjack table if I cannot see a football game or something going on that's more relevant than the casino, the traditional casino stuff that you have. So get with it. You have a gift. Open the gift and do something with it. Don't be dumb, because that's what's going on right now. Very stupid, waste of time, and also disrespectful, I think, to what you think the consumer wants, because you're failing right now. So get your act together, gaming folks in Ontario, whoever the hell you are. Other note, so also from Jeff, was that interesting that Ontario has regulated sports gaming providers through iGaming. So, example, Bet365 and Sports Interaction and Caesars and FanDuel, etc. They have to go through a regulated process to be ready to go after or before April 4th or after April 4th. And right now there's currently 36 regulated online gaming and online sportsbook providers in Ontario. But the point of this story, though, is the unregulated websites that still have not gone through the proper steps, I guess, to gain regulation in Ontario. They basically had a warning. They had a line drawn in the sand by the Alcohol Gaming Commission of Ontario that said that you either sign up or follow the steps to get regulated, or you run the risk of never, ever, ever gaining a license here in Ontario. So really dropping the hammer on what the penalty could be if they continue to operate. So it looks like they've reported 17 unregulated providers in the last 2 days. Again, this is when reported out on covers through Jeff Zokadin at Jeff Zokadin on Twitter. Reported 17 providers have left, and these are providers that were still unregulated, and maybe some of those providers that have left in the last 2 days are still going through the steps to become regulated or face very severe penalties if they continue to operate without such an agreement to be regulated. So interesting note there for those interesting in gaming news or sports gambling news. So we'll continue to update once some tidbits come out. But I'm going to go into some sports news here and give my thoughts and give my 2 cents. Speaking of not 2 cents, absolutely the opposite of 2 cents is it looks like Dan Snyder, Washington Commanders NFL team owner, after, almost not voluntarily selling the team, looks like he is engaged the Bank of America to look at selling the team. Now, I don't know if it's official yet. There's a shot that he's looking to sell maybe a minority stake in the team. However, the thought has, in the last 48 hours, looked like he is going forward with the sale of the Commanders. And it's getting ridiculous, like as far as the value of these teams. And the Commanders could go for $5 billion plus. Maybe more, maybe even more than $5 billion. Maybe we hit the 6. The commodity that is the NFL is almost like buying a house in a hot market. The price keeps going up and up and up. The NFL can charge whatever it wants for TV rights. And think of where that's evolved. Their Thursday night packages on Amazon Prime. Not even traditional TV anymore. They've broken this up. Like when we thought about the Thursday night package, it started on the NFL network. Now it's ridiculously profitable to sell to Prime. Their new Sunday ticket, I believe in the U.S., is on DirecTV right now. But as soon as that is done, that's open season. Like there's no more CBS, Fox, and NBC and ABC are the only 4 competitors lining up. It's them, Apple, Prime, Amazon, whoever else I can't think of at the moment. But it's open season now, and the NFL is just cashing in. They have cost control with their salary cap. I mean, everything is suited to make this a gold mine. And even though these teams sell for billions of dollars, there's a shot that as we go on, billions more can be gained, even if somebody buys a team now. But we're talking about the Commanders, and a story came out today on Bleacher Report that possibly that Jeff Bezos, former inventor or CEO of Amazon, or founder, that's what the word I meant to say, founder of Amazon, one of the richest men on the planet, may be interested in bidding on the Commanders, along with Jay-Z. I don't know where the connection is there, but if that is true, Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z do become suitors for the Commanders, who the hell cares who else is signing up? Who else is going to outmatch, outbid, outshine, outname Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z? That's a slam dunk. There's no bidding process. Like, it's over. Like, who's going to outbid Jeff Bezos? Nobody. All right. Like, Elon Musk is already into Twitter, so I don't think he's got enough scratch left to buy the Commanders, which I'm joking, like, probably does in his couch change. But Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z, if they want it, they're going to be the next owners of the Commanders. And hope to God they change the name, because the Commanders' name sucks badly. Washington football team is probably, they should have stuck with that. That sounded so much better. But that's just my personal thought. Other news and notes from the NFL, news-wise, trade deadline, 4 o'clock on this past Tuesday. Some notable stories on there. The Vikings picked up a division rival, tight end, TJ Hawkinson. And why I brought this particular trade up is soon-to-be fired GM of the Detroit Lions. Where's the name? I'm going to give you the quote, then I'll give you the name. I don't have the name, to be honest, so I don't really care. His quote on the trade: "The move is not reflective of our record. If our record was reversed and it made sense for us, then we would have still done it. So it wasn't anything of that nature. It made sense for us, and we just moved forward with it." Yeah, right. So what you're saying is that if you were 6-1, you would have gone and traded Hawkinson, an impact player, a major feature in your offense, because you needed that second round pick in 2023 and that third round pick in 2024. How could you say that without a smile on your face? How stupid does that sound? What other organization would, if that was true, would actually make that move to get rid of an impact player on the offense to your, yes, reality 1-16, but if it was 6-1, you say you would trade Hawkinson to a division rival, that is, so that you can see him multiple times in next year at least. That's what you have done. That just puts the writing on the wall. You're done. That's the dumbest comment, one of the stupidest responses to a question that you could possibly, have an open mic in front of you and say. That's asinine, stupid, and probably you're short-lived for your job, and probably deservingly so, because the Lions are in no shape at all to look forward to positivity the rest of the season. You've given Dan Campbell nothing to work with. I don't know how this helps his cause. He'll probably be gone. And again, for Detroit, sucks to be a fan of the Lions because you're going nowhere. Another interesting note, Calvin Ridley, receiver, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons, traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, what's interesting about this is Calvin Ridley is suspended currently. And you know why he's suspended, for those who don't know? Because this is a Square podcast. You may not follow sports day to day, second by second. Is that Calvin Ridley was suspended due to the fact that he bet on football. He actually bet that the Atlanta Falcons, I think it was last year, would beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ironically, that's where he's going. So, I think I heard a few sports guys talk about, didn't even know somebody who's actually suspended could be traded. I didn't know that either. Doesn't make sense to me that, you would think that the person's status would be frozen, but they can be traded. But smart move by Jacksonville, because if he does get reinstated, and he gets reinstated, and they really care for next year, they got a former first-round pick, an impact player for Trevor Lawrence, and these are the kind of moves you got to make, because the fact is somebody's going to pick him up, and you got to be first to the dance. You got to be the first one to get in there, and that's what they did. Smart move by the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know who did not make a move? Yes, come on. They wear yellow, they wear green, they wear cheese in their head. The Green Bay Packers didn't make any moves whatsoever. You have Aaron Rodgers aging. It is not on the upside here. He's not going to increase his capability and ability to get you to the Super Bowl. And for the last 4 years or 5 years, what have you done to actually want to win a Super Bowl? I don't understand this at all. It makes no sense to me. You as the Green Bay Packers follow the same salary cap as the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, the New England Patriots, the LA Rams. It doesn't matter that you're a community-based team that's community-owned. You have the same reporting financial structure, in a sense, the same rules around the salary cap. You receive the same TV money. There is nothing that prevents you from making the moves that will make you a better team. You have a superstar quarterback, one of the potential faces on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks, and you've decided to give him nothing. You've drafted nothing. Every other team is aware that I need to, connect my franchise generational quarterback with talent around. The Kansas City Chiefs had Tyreek Hill, but, he had to leave, or whatever, that's fine. But they also got out and, already had Travis Kelce. They went out and got, a few guys out there, at least to get by this season, and they'll probably keep adding. Tom Brady, during his run, had many different versions of, the New England Patriots, but there was a period of time where it's, hey, let's go get Randy Moss because he's available. Let's almost have a perfect season. And they almost did. But you have the Chicago Bears going to get Chase Claypool. You couldn't offer a second round pick or whatever it was to get Chase Claypool to actually be a go-to receiver? You couldn't do that? It makes zero sense and disgusting that the Green Bay Packers are playing or managing like a small market team. What are you going to do when it's time for Aaron to go? And you know what? He had his chance to go. He could have got out of there. He had decided not to. I don't know. He's a drama queen right now. I have no idea where his headspace is at. But the fact is that, Devontae Adams left without being replaced. Don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing. And Green Bay, I feel sorry for you because you've had, 15 years of great quarterback play, if not longer. I don't have it in front of me. You get Brett Favre, and then suddenly, hey, Aaron Rodgers, here's a perfect transition. And you have two of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, possibly in the NFL. And this is what you're doing. Disgusting. It's disgusting and pathetic at the same time. Probably both. So that's my take on the trade deadline and some of the things that stood out there. Some other news and notes around the sporting world. Talked about a couple weeks ago, trying to follow 6 NBA teams and try to really dig into information so that it can help the wagering aspect of it. To be honest, it's hard to keep up. It's to try to keep up in the box scores, Twitter and podcasts and everything. So I'll be frank, that hasn't gone very well and hope to pick that back up. But if you have any tips out there, again, we are at Overrated Exper, EXPER2 on Twitter, of any new any tips anybody has on how to really analyze teams and what to look for, especially on the basketball side, that may give an indication of some value when you're looking at the lines on a nightly basis. World Series. I'll be honest, I haven't really watched live. I've been following more on Twitter and using the Score app to follow what's going on. Love that. You've seen the highlights of the home runs. But as far as World Series betting action, have not thrown too much on there, to be honest. I threw maybe on the over game one, but that's it. And I gotta believe, baseball has to really look at how long the season's going. If you have one of the teams in the World Series, like in Philadelphia, there's a possibility that it can be really freaking cold out there, and nobody wants to watch baseball when people are wearing toques and stuff like that. It's not what people want to see, especially now that we're in full NFL, full college football swing. In college football and NFL, basically with a few exceptions and a few days, it's on all the time. And this is the kind of season where people want that. And I think the baseball has gone on too long. I love baseball, but I think the 162 games, gotta maybe look at that a little bit. Spring training does not need to be as long as it needs to be. The sport every other sport has evolved, and baseball has too, where the guys that you're signing these big contracts to, they're coming to camp most likely in shape, and if they don't, somebody will take their job. But it's not like before where training camp got players in shape. These guys are already in shape. I know you're trying to squeeze out every friggin' dime in everything friggin' sport, but you damage the credibility of the sport. You take the value away from, let's say, the World Series when it goes on too long. It's just too long, and it should be shorter. The World Series should be done by now. And that's all I got to say about that. But take note, baseball. Also, NHL, not much to say there, but it's a lot of action, a lot of scoring right now. It's hard to get a grasp on who is what and what to take. And, teams out there that maybe ones to look at. It's surprisingly enough, Seattle and Vancouver scoring a lot of goals. And I really don't have a take on it. I love betting hockey, but don't have a take on it. Again, apply Bet365 with their same game parlay. Leading the way. I think there's some good value there potentially that other sites have failed to catch up on. So Bet365, thumbs up to you. And that's that for the news and notes. And I've kind of gone away from recapping previous week. Again, I'm not telling you to phone 1-800 blah blah blah. Here's my picks. Paid $9.99. I'm not that guy. I'm like you. I am just looking at the lines, looking to talk football, looking to talk hockey, looking to talk baseball, looking to talk soccer, whatever it may be, basketball, and we're going to talk betting. So when I provide some insight where I think it's for a fun purpose, and by all means, I'm not looking to tell you that I know what I'm talking about. I am a square better just like you, and this is something we want to get into, but I probably am not going to recap as much as I did to start the podcast a few months back, but I can't not recap the experience on Sunday of the Carolina-Atlanta Falcon football game. Now, this the experience of this game, if you had put some money down on this game, win or lose, the experience, I don't know if you like this experience because it can be considered a rush, but this is those type of experience where you just, there's such a roller coaster ride. You feel that the sporting world gods are against you. And then, oh my God, the sporting gods are with me. But the emotion going back and forth is almost not fair. And I say that, begrudgingly, because gambling's not fair, and that's why it's gambling, because you're taking chances. But the way this game played out just had so many aspects of just pissing you off as a sports bettor. Now, this Atlanta-Carolina game should have been a nothing game. Out of all the games on the slate, this is one of the games that's near the bottom, right? Atlanta, for the most part, is a 4-point favorite. I think some books had it 4.5. Yeah, and this game winds up a 37-34 win for Atlanta. But how did we get there? Well, many bettors, including I, didn't really take the -4, but I was thinking about it. I called it out last week, the -4. But I took it on a money line. Actually, the money line, the teaser. The teaser. I took the parlay. I took a parlay with this Atlanta money line and another game that I can't recall right now. But and I'm following this game. I'm coming back from the weekend at the casino. Long car ride back home. I'm in the passenger seat heading home, following this game, looking at this game as a gimme. Carolina just came off beating Tampa Bay last week. There's no way in hell that they're going to walk into Atlanta, who has actually had a surprising season. They've knocked off San Francisco. They've been in every game that they played, and I didn't expect it to end the way that it did. So as the game is back and forth throughout the whole day, staying closer than you think it would. And by the fourth quarter, Atlanta, takes a 2-score lead. But here's where it gets crazy. This is where the pit in your stomach, you feel sick, or you get that reaction when you see the result of what happened in the game when you're following on your phone, and the other person who doesn't know what you're doing doesn't understand your reaction. So Atlanta is pretty much home. They're up 34-28 with 23 seconds left in the fourth quarter. I think Carolina was on their own 35, 40, whatever it may be. No timeouts. 0 timeouts. The only place they can throw it is in the end zone, because they throw it in play, obviously. The clock's going to run. They have no time. They need to get a first down. And you're following on your phone. The next thing you see is a 62-yard touchdown from P.J. Walker to D.J. Moore. And you almost want to throw your phone into the car. How can a defense that already knows what the only play, a team down by 6 with 12 seconds to go with no timeouts, really has to put the ball up? How could you let a receiver get behind your secondary? How is that even possible? But yet it happened. And the disgusting part there, not disgusting, because it's kind of reversed because it worked out for me. So it's disgusting that they were able to score the touchdown, and that's where you feel like, what the hell? I mean, how can you analyze or crunch numbers or look at, the trends when something stupid like that happens? Such a low percentage play, but it happens. And then you think, okay, it's over, right? You're just sitting there waiting for, now it's 34, and all Carolina has to do is hit an extra point. And then, as you're following on your phone, you find out that DJ Moore, after catching the touchdown, ripped off his helmet, was celebrating. Here comes the flag. He gets a 15-yard penalty, pushing the kickback, the extra point back. So it goes like, man, don't give me that false hope. Don't give me that false hope, right? And then you go check the chat. I mean, if you ever use the Score app and check the chat, I don't know why I still do it because there's a lot of BS in there. A lot of people, I don't know why it's funny to kind of throw out things like, oh, he missed the field goal, he hit the field goal. No, there's a safety. Like, it's continuously crap like that I do not know why people get entertainment out of, as far as just providing incorrect information for what purpose. I have no idea. But luckily, Eddie Pinheiro, who's a pretty decent kicker, he misses the extra point. So after, waiting and looking at your phone, you realize that, oh my God, it's like 34, and they eventually go to overtime. Great. Oh my God, I got hope. I got again. Don't give me false hope. Give me some results here. And kickoff, Atlanta gets possession. And of course, they get a pick. They get picked off right in field goal range for Carolina. And just, again, like, why did I have that false hope? I'd rather get blown out 62-0 than have to go through this up and down emotional roller coaster. But luckily, again, he misses. He misses Eddie Pinheiro misses a chip shot to win the game. And then Atlanta takes over. They get into field goal range, and they win 37-34. I win my parlay. I stay alive going into 4 o'clock. But the up and down of that game, win or lose, almost takes time. It gives you gray hair, takes time off your life. It's just sickening. Even though it came out as a positive for me, I just hate it, having to sweat it that bad for a game that was so insignificant, but yet really came down to being important. So you out there, if you're listening, you got to relate to that. You've been through that many times, and you may have been through that in a different game or the same game last week. But that was my 2 cents. So that's that. And then it obviously turns around, not in my favor on Monday, where I know Cincinnati doesn't have Jamar Chase. I know that they've lost the last 2 against Cleveland, but they were a 4.5-point favorite. And also, Cleveland is coming off 4 straight losses. And, so a lot of that was self-destruction. And then they go in and they basically annihilate Cincinnati. And for those who watch the Monday Nighter, that the end of the first half, the Browns were up 11-0. No, sorry, they were up 8-0 because 12 men in the huddle allowed Cleveland to go for 2 on the 1. How do you make this stupid mistake? These are the kind of things that tell you that this is not going to happen. These early mistakes are so stupid that you know that you're in trouble. And then they get a turnover midfield, and then McPherson misses a field goal. And then, of course, Cleveland marches down, hits like a 55-yard field goal to make it 11-0, and it went south from there. It's just, you think you know the game. Football is so hard to handicap and bet, and it's hard to stay away, even though it's so hard. But sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it doesn't. But man, either way, both experiences were gut wrenching. So I know some of you can understand what I'm talking about out there. So going forward into week 9 of the NFL, a few plays that stood out to me at least. Buffalo heads into New York to take on the Jets. Jets, were looking great, and not so much anymore. Zach Wilson is coming down to earth, and I think TikTok buddy, douchebag Zach Wilson, your time is running out. You got that vote of confidence. We're still going to go with Zach. We're going to go with Zachy. We're going to go with Zach Wilson, and that just means that Salah, the coach, he has one finger on the trigger to pull to bring in Flacco. It's going to happen. And it could happen as early as Sunday as the Bills start probably pasting the Jets. The Bills are the best team of football right now. I don't care what the Eagles are doing. I'll take the Bills any day of the week with Josh Allen. I got to believe they're going to go in and spank the Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. And I think at some point in the game, you're going to see a transition that Zach hit the bench, buddy. And Joey Flacco will be on the field before you know it. So some plays I like here. You got to look at Stephon Diggs. Anytime touchdown, plus 100. Last 3 games, he's got a touchdown. So why would it be different? He's the go-to threat. He's the deep ball threat. He's the main guy that Josh Allen goes for. He's one of the best receivers in football. So he's definitely a money player. But some good value picks that I'm thinking that might also be worth it, because they may score 3 or 4 touchdowns anyway, is Dawson Knox, plus 210 to score a touchdown anytime on Bet365. He's got 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games. And I think when the Bills are pretty closer in the red zone, Dawson Knox, I think the Bills are in a stage right now where they want to spread the ball out and kind of prep heading into, I know we're still early in the season somewhat, but I think they want to head into the tail end of the season, into the playoffs, by keeping everybody going. Meaning that let's go out of our way to look for guys like Dawson Knox. And also, so plus 210, I think there's value there as well. Score a touchdown anytime. And the Bills at the trade deadline picked Nyheim Hines, running back from the Colts. Good running back, right? That tells you that they want to relieve Josh Allen of the burden of having to put everything on his shoulders when it comes to running and just throwing. And I think they're going to, maybe I'm ahead of myself, but in this game, I got to feel that they're going to feed the rock to Nyheim Hines, at least in the red zone. And there's a good chance at plus 210. There's value of him scoring a touchdown as well. And even more value here, I got to believe that Zach Wilson's going to throw a minimum pick 2 interceptions. And if you look at Bet365, and I've had this bet before, they have something called player milestones, and this one's called a player interception milestone. And if you take both the 2 interceptions at plus 210 and or 3 or more at plus 675, there's a good chance that 3 might hit. But even if the 2 hits, you're going to get your money back plus a little bit. But I like that. Zach Wilson is a pick machine, and the only thing stopping him will be a benching after maybe 1 pick. But 2 picks, at least 3 picks a bonus. But he's throwing a goddamn pick in that game for sure, because he's going to be forcing it, and he knows his job's on the line. Green Bay, Detroit. Green Bay is a minus 3.5 point favorite, and Detroit sucks. I mean, I touted them. I thought they would be fighting a lot more than they did. They had a little fight in them last year. They had a little fight in them earlier this year, and that just went south. And with the trade of Hawkinson, where do we see any positivity here? The Packers can at least run the ball. They got beaten by the Bills, but at least at the end there, they look like they put up a little bit of a fight. They also turned the ball over a few times on Josh Allen. So what's that going to do to Jared Goff? And is this Jared Goff's last hurrah? Will he be getting the hook early? Who knows? But, this has to be... I can't believe Green Bay is going to lose to Detroit after the run, they lost 4 straight. This can't happen. I think minus 3.5 is a great value, and they own Detroit. So he's very familiar with Detroit. Aaron Rodgers is, and I think he's going to light him up. Also going into teaser to bring it to plus 2.5 with your three of your other games, and also minus 180 is great for a parlay. Just even if you're scared that they might just win by a field goal, they will win. They have value on a parlay, so keep that in consideration. Another 1 o'clock game. LA Chargers take on the Atlanta Falcons. Now, it's a couple player props stand out to me. And one of them was, I guess, how I look at this, I see this game going. I see the Chargers lighting up the Atlanta Falcons. When I say that, I just believe that Justin Herbert's going to be able to throw the ball despite having injuries in the receiving core. I think Mike Williams is iffy if he's going to play. I think he might be. I think he's out. And then you got oh man, I'm lost track. The top receivers are out right now, but what's funny is Matthew Berry, the fantasy guru, is touting Josh Palmer. Never even heard of Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer, receiver, expects to get a lot of looks and probably a good fantasy value. Josh Palmer, wide receiver of the Chargers, might be an undervalued pick. Right now, there's no, with the uncertainty of the Chargers receiving core, there's not a Charger in any of the receiving yards player props in this game so far. But keep an eye on that and keep a name, Joshua Palmer, in mind heading into Sunday, as most likely the injury report clears itself up and he'll probably wind up as a prop in receiving yards and completions, etc. He's value there, according to Matthew Berry, the fantasy guru. And also, I got to feel that if the Atlanta Falcons are behind, Marcus Mariota has to go to the air, and his passing yards are only 179.5. He did throw 253 yards last week. I got to think there's value there. If you think the Falcons will be battling from behind, that's a no-brainer if you feel that way. All right, so that's that game. The next game is the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just lost in London to the Denver Broncos. But for this game, I'm looking at more of going back to the well once again to Josh Jacobs. His over/under rushing yards is 76.5 yards. Yes, I know he didn't do much last week, but when you have a team that's got shut out like the Vegas Raiders did, they're not going to run the ball as much. But I got a feeling that the Jacksonville Jaguars will give up some yards here. They shut down the Broncos pretty well on the ground, but who hasn't? The previous game, though, against the Giants, they gave up 100 yards to both Saquon Barkley and Matthew Jones, quarterback. So why can't Josh Jacobs get over 76.5 yards? I think there's value there. Moving on to Miami and Chicago. The Miami Dolphins are heading into another loser road game. They just came off, not really, kind of struggling, but then pulled away from the Lions, and they go to Chicago. And do you really see Miami losing here? They're -4.5 favorite. They're going to light it up. They put up points. The Bears are trading a lot of their defensive players away during the trade deadline. They can't throw the ball. I don't care if Chase Claypool's there or not. They can't throw the ball. And Miami is going to run all over them. But not only is Miami a great play, but even a parlay if you don't like the -4.5. So -210, and let's say put it with the 180, -180 with the Packers, gives you a +129 situation. I think there's great value there. Also, teasing it so that it's part of your teaser card is also valued to bring it down to +1.5. And also on the player side of things, I think, how can you go wrong with taking Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill and the receiving yards? Tyreek Hill last week had 188 yards receiving. This guy, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. And, you give me 85.5 yards, which you do, he's going to probably have that by mid-second quarter. Unless, obviously, he blows a hammy or something. I really still think he's underrated. And he's such an impact player. And I know the Chiefs, for salary cap purposes, couldn't or didn't want to give him his money. But, I mean, with such a short window of having a superstar generational quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, that having Tyreek Hill at his peak, which he looks like he's still there, just equals success. And there's no way that the Chiefs beat the Bills last year in the playoffs without Tyreek Hill. Obviously, I'm not telling you something you don't know, but he is outstanding, just amazing. And the numbers he puts up and the impact he makes is difference-making. So watch him to, I think, clearly surpass 85.5 yards very quickly in that game against the Bears. Now, we go into 4 p.m. There's only 2 games at 4 o'clock. I don't understand. The NFL is usually pretty smart, of putting games so bettors can really have action. Over the years, they've done smart things, knowing that people bet on their games. Surprise. Now it's pretty public, and they promote it, and they're endorsing it. You can't have 2 4 o'clock games. You need to push. I don't care if you push an Eastern time zone team out to 4 o'clock or 4:25. You need to have a minimum 4 games at 4 o'clock. There are people who want to do teasers, and it sounds stupid, but the NFL moves on betting. And 2 games doesn't cut it on a Sunday. It's not good enough, and especially the matchups. I mean, you thought the Rams and Tampa Bay would be a hot matchup, but both teams are going south. Both teams, I got to assume one of them is going to break away. I think it's going to be Tampa, to be honest. LA looks like I got my Super Bowl. Stafford can only hit Cooper Kupp. Kupp's a little injured. Stafford, the O-line is not doing well, and I think he is 1 hit away from being sidelined. They have not incorporated Allen Robinson the way they should have, so that they could have multiple threats. So I see, one of these teams has to win, but I'd probably stick to, because it's a 4 o'clock game, I don't love it, but I would take the 42.5 over. Again, I don't love it. It's the sake of I bet it because I'm a square and I'm a degenerate. I would take the over 42.5 just to have something to watch. 425. Moving on to the 8 o'clock game, Tennessee and KC. Now, here we go. KC is a minus 12.5 point favorite. I would probably stick to the player props on here. Not many of them are listed just yet because I guess it's a Sunday nighter. And what also we have to account for is Ryan Tannehill, quarterback, Tennessee Titans, is not sure he's going to play. He has got a bum ankle. He's not practicing, and it's commented he may or may not play. So that's unsure. And you look at the performance from Malik Willis, first quarterback taken last year in the draft. I'm the first quarterback. Sorry, first quarter. One of the first quarterbacks taken. Obviously, Pickett was the first quarterback taken, but I can't believe Tennessee beat Houston when his line was 6 for 10, 55 yards passing, 1 interception, 3 sacks, and basically his job was to turn around and give Derrick Henry the ball against Houston. 32 rushes last week, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. Honestly, if you're Houston last week, and you know what? If you're Kansas City this week, I don't give a shit about Malik Willis passing the ball. I won't even use a safety. I won't even use safeties. I would bring everybody up to the line to go after Henry and say, please, sir, pass the ball. Go ahead. By all means. I have a feeling you're not going to be doing too well. So Tennessee's in trouble. If Tannehill does not start, I'd lean toward the 12.5. Tennessee will not score points. Kansas City's not the Texans. Kansas City is a better organization, smarter. They know the Titans. They've faced Derrick Henry many times and have been successful. So look for them to just beat the crap out of the Tennessee Titans and have a crappy Sunday nighter. So that's going to be like a fight where there's one person punching and one person taking it. That's exactly what's going to happen on Sunday night. Monday, Ravens, Saints. Again, the player props, don't see many as this game's out on Monday. All I can say about this game is despite Bateman being gone for the season, I still see the Ravens 2.5 of a great value here. The Saints, obviously put together a great defensive effort. Shut out the Raiders, but I don't see much going on with the Saints. And I think, again, when you look at the organizations such as Baltimore's, the Kansas City's, the Buffalo's, right now, not all the time, Buffalo in the last 4 years since Sean McDermott's been the coach and that program's turned around. So these organizations are just better at every aspect of the game of football, the preparation, the game plan, and for the most part, when they face a team that doesn't have the talent to kind of break that down, they're done. Andy Dalton has shown he has spurts of success, but he's going to see failure on Monday night. Lamar Jackson brings a different aspect. It's not the traditional running game that New Orleans is very good at stopping. It's going to be an attack that I think is unorthodox for them, and they will struggle. But the 2.5 is a no-brainer, and that's a unload time. Unload. Drop it all onto, or at least I would say, drop all your fun dollars on the Baltimore Ravens, if for fun. I want to be clear on that. Now that's the Overrated Experience for another week, and I hope everybody is lucky this weekend and has fun and really checks out some gaming news and has some comments on it and hits us up on Twitter. Again, to reach us on Twitter at the Overrated Experience, it's Overrated and then EXPER2 to contact us and with your comments and feedback and or general thoughts or stories to talk about. So we'll hope to hear from you there. But until then, over and out.